You're listening to the Golightly Marshall Hour on freedomtalkradio.net.
All right, show number 16. And
Sweet 16.
And a slightly different tone.
16, by the way, is the 16th letter of the Greek alphabet is pi. The 16th brightest star is Spreaker. It's in the Virgo Virgin. So, just a little bit of trivia.
And Benedict XVI.
Benedict XVI, of
Yes, yes, yes. Now, and his birthday is April the 16th.
April 16th.
Okay, today we're going to be talking about the KKK. Joel brought it to our attention. There's a headline here from Raw Story. Returning troops help KKK build paramilitary force to retake the US in a coming race war. And of course this article is written from the perspective, I would say, of the Jews behind the scenes running a lot of these sites who are knocking it, of course. However, I did leave a comment because we were in contact with the KKK in 2011 with the grandson of a grand wizard or whatever it is that they're called, whose name was James. And he was the one who alerted us to the truth of the KKK and his own families, as a white family living in the South. This is bizarre stuff, their terrible experiences of rape and murder within their family by black-skinned peoples. Now,
Mother was raped twice and his father was shot dead. So I spoke to him for a while and I said, look, I understand this could build up into a very, very serious situation for you. I said, but I have nothing against people wanting to live as races separate to other races. And I said, I support your idea because you don't want to be living in a country where your daughter can't walk down the street and be harassed by Negro thugs. And that is what happens. And I've been all through the south of the United States, and I've seen it with my own eyes. And I wouldn't like my daughter walking down the street or wife being in a situation. So it is much better that if you have problems racially, you should be able to go somewhere and preserve your race. I am all for it. So naturally, once I said that, I got branded, and I thank you for that, as being supporting Hitler, which I do. I thought Hitler was a great man. He understood that the Jews were the problem, and he did say that if you don't do something about the Jews, that the earth will be left a lifeless sphere floating in the ether of space. Now, let's get serious here. What has already happened? Who do you think is behind putting all these nuclear plants all around the world, where even Einstein said it's one hell of a way to boil water? So these nuclear plants are run by isotopes and so forth that were completely invented by mankind and not natural anywhere else in the universe. So these are highly dangerous. So I have suggested ways of getting rid of the isotopes by firing them into space on rockets and just clean it all up and get rid of them, and change your fuel to coal. America's got lots of coal, but of course the propaganda against coal is it produces the gases and so forth that trees happen to love, and trees give off oxygen and take in carbon and anything that is produced by coal. So it's complete propaganda that the coal that gives off the pollution is causing this and causing that, when in actual fact it's good for plants. So everything's been reversed, and what's behind it? Jews, of course. So I also said to James, he said he was going underground. He didn't know whether he was going to be alive or not. But he said to me, I'll see you in the White House, because the KKK said they were behind me.
They were looking for the blessing of the Father.
They were looking for the blessing of the Father. And I said, well, you've got it. Check me out. And of course they did, and they come back to me and they believed. So,
absolutely.
Look what you've got in America today. You've got a black man that is not born in America at all. And all of his administration are Jews, which are not Americans. They say they are, but they are in actual fact Israelis, and you can't be an American and an Israeli. It's the only country in the world, or Australia does too to a certain extent, that allows a foreign national, even though they might be born in the country, the point is they are Jews, and the nature of their religion is that they support whatever Israel does. That's it. They are psychopaths from the beginning. They aren't actual Jews at all. They are 99% of them are from Khazaria, and these were not only are they an abomination today on their sexual habits and so forth, but they are behind the phallic symbols, and they were once a serpent worshipping race of Mongols in northern parts of Turkey going into Russia. So this was before Russia existed, in fact. So they are an abominable race, there's no doubt about it. And if you've got a wild dog, what do you do with it? Now, you've got Obama. I was asked on radio by an American interviewer if I had the chance to go to the Oval Office and meet Netanyahu and Obama, what would you do? And I said, could I take an Uzi with me? Because a couple of well-placed bullets would fix the Earth's problem. Now, that's a terrible thing for the Messiah to say, isn't it? I'm not their Messiah. I'm your Messiah. And I am a warring Messiah. I've come here to straighten things out, not to turn the other cheek, which is bullshit. I never did that in the first place. And I was not a Jew. I was an Essene, and Essene are the oldest religion in the world. It goes back to Enoch, which was before the flood. And the Great Pyramid, incidentally, and the Sphinx was built before the flood. So we're going to read a little bit about the Ku Klux Klan. And I should say, when I asked what the idea of the burning cross was, I was told that they dress in white because of the saints that are in the book of Revelation, and they stand under at night with a burning cross. They're standing under the light of Jesus. And I said, well, James, you won me. That was it. So he said to me, well, we'll see you. He's going underground. He didn't know whether he was going to live or not, because they thought he might get killed. I said, well, go into your army, talk to the soldiers, tell them what the truth is, let them check me out, and don't take any vaccinations, don't go to wars and so forth. Deal with the war that you've got going on in your own country. And of course, that's what he said he was going to do. And he said, if you don't hear from me, or if you do hear from me, it'll be when you're in the White House, because he wants me to go and rule the world from the White House, which is a bloody good idea. So I have no objections to that, because I'd clean them out. The senators wouldn't last too long with me around. So, what are you going to say, Darryl?
All right, well, there's two things. This pretty well says it all, the comment I left.
Well, really?
Yeah, because all of the comments leaving the course are going berserk, and one, this calls itself a guest, but it's the same photograph for guest, and up here, Cleverland chick. The bigoted Christians I know are only Christians because it allows them a sense of superiority, because deep down they know they're losers. And then the same icon says as a guest, and they call themselves Christians, Jesus was a Palestinian Jew with dark skin. I suppose he'd be gunned down in a split second. So I replied, you are wrong. He was and is a white-skinned, blue-eyed, dark-haired Essene from England. His grandparents migrated to Jerusalem to fulfill the prophecies of Isaiah. the king of Judah, and is back for his judgment against the Jews who call themselves Jews and are not. The Palestinians are the holy people and are the Semites. The Christ had communication with the KKK in 2011 and told them to go for it. Take back from the Jews, who are the Synagogue of Satan, and the ones who have caused all the races to fight each other in every corner of the earth. It is part of their holy book Talmud practices that are the abomination that makes desolate, and they are about to be cast off the earth. They have been the enemy of God and all mankind since way before the cross. The Christ is about to report on this story and is encouraging every sane man and woman, black and white, to join the KKK. They who have learned the truth about the Jews behind the unrest within America, which has become an extension of the Ashkenazi state of Israel. The Israeli leaders, their bodies, the sepulchres or graves, are the host for the parasites like maggots putrefying the flesh of men and women destined to be sacrificed by their leaders. Then they too will be sacrificed for their god Lucifer. I said, enjoy the ride. The Christ is back in town and his name is Marshall. Announced by Pope Benedict XVI, March 2013, and it is judgment. Hitler said, unless the Jews are stopped, the earth will become a lifeless orb floating in the ether of space. And he was right. Fukushima is the Samson option, designed to kill all life on earth, including the parasite Jews, small and great. The Christ has said he has nothing against Jews, they just need to stop behaving like one. In the meantime, unless they repent, they will go the way of the demons infesting them at their death. Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall, the Messiah, if you accept it and repent. Otherwise, adios. And then to the Jew trolls paid by the IDF, you have been lied to. The largest hate group on the planet are the Israelis, hired by Lucifer to carry out the protocols of Zion in spreading lies and hatred among sane people who are a wake-up to you. You are not Jews, you are the true Nazi. Adolf Hitler, a good man, would protect you, but not the ones you are paid by, the Ashkenazi barbarians slaughtering the innocents of Palestine. Netanyahu leading his people along a broad road to destruction, as well as the Christian West deceived into supporting Israel. The time for forgiveness is over. Jesus Christ today is the Father, the Comforter, the Holy Ghost, the Judge, and nobody likes the Judge. And the link to the Scrib site. Now, interesting about the fiery cross over here, where that all came from. This person a true copy by the order of the Great Blue Fustin, GSKKK. So the fiery cross apparently came from, he says, let's set the record straight on this fiery cross controversy. I went to a Catholic grammar school and Catholic high school. We studied the origins of the fiery cross and its religious symbolism in class. Now here it is, contrary to anyone else's propaganda. According to church doctrine, the first Christian Roman Emperor Constantine beheld a vision of a fiery cross in the sky on the eve of a battle. With the fiery cross vision in the sky were the words, "With this sign ye shall conquer." Constantine adopted the fiery cross as his symbol on his shield and won the battle. That's how it all got started, and since then the fiery cross has been a religious symbol, not only for the Catholic Church, but numerous Protestant churches as well. As a religious symbol, these churches use the fiery cross in various ways. And below are two examples. In each photo you can plainly see a cross that is a flame, and it's the cross and flame for the United Methodist Church logo and also Catholic charities. Does it make any difference whether or not the cross is drawn or painted or burning or is actually lighted with fire? Have you ever stopped to think of just how many times God and fire are connected in the Bible? The Bible often uses fire as a symbol of God, and then it quotes several verses. He shall baptize you with the Holy Ghost and with fire. God speaking to Moses, and then now the cross has long been established as the symbol of Christ, and Christ is the light of the world. The Gospel of John 1, 4 and 5 states, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness grasped it not. Thus this passage has been symbolised by illuminating a cross with a fire at night. So what's so hard to figure out about that? I wish to point out here that recently I have seen on TV documentaries several deliberate distortions. I have seen the fiery cross of Constantine's vision being changed to a vision of just a cross, not a flaming or fiery one. I have recently seen the cross being dropped altogether and replaced with the cross keys of the church. This is deliberate lying on the part of modern propagandists for the sake of brainwashing a gullible public with politically correct rubbish. They are deliberately trying to change every symbol of Christianity into a symbol of racist hate. The Christian religion is being twisted and perverted by the powers of Antichrist right before our very eyes. The Antichrist are the Jews. It's not Islam. Islam, left alone without the Jews stirring them up, are peaceful. Stupid, but peaceful. It's always been the Jews getting Christian to fight Christian, Muslim to fight Muslim, Muslim to fight Christian, and that's what's going on now.
It was the Jews behind the Quran, because the original words of Muhammad, he believed and stated by spreading this statement across all of Islam, which is today Arabia and the neighbouring countries. He said that Jesus was the soul of God, born of the Virgin. The Virgin could only conceive of the Father because the Father coming through her as in a womb into Jesus, the Father was inside Jesus as the soul. So therefore the Father can only have himself. He does not have a Father. So the Creator has no one above him, so only he can make the transition from the Godhead into the baby Jesus and then grow up. And that's why Jesus said, and that's why I say today, that if you've seen the Father, you've seen me. If you've seen Jesus, you've seen me. We are one. This is what the Trinity is.
The Golightly Marshall Hour on freedomtalkradio.net.
Okay, now this continues. Now, how did the Ku Klux Klan, the KKK, get tied up with all this? As I've said in other sections of this webpage, the original KKK did not use the fiery cross. In the 47 volumes that make up the Ku Klux Report to Congress, there is not one newspaper, not one eyewitness, not one ex-Klansman, not one surviving victim who makes a reference to a firing cross of any kind during the era of the original KKK. The Klan fiery cross link is the work of fiction writer Thomas Dixon in his novel The Klansman. When questioned years later as to why he did that, Dixon said that he put the fiery cross into his Klan novel because his uncle had told him that on one occasion the Klan used a small fiery cross as a signal light. This one use of a small fiery cross by a local Klan unit may not have even happened. However, when D.W. Griffith made the Dixon novel into the epic motion picture The Birth of a Nation, Griffith embellished the fictitious use of a fiery cross by the Klan. He knew a good movie prop when he saw one. Then came Colonel Simmons, who revived the KKK in 1915. He was a former Methodist circuit minister, and as you saw above, the fiery cross is a Methodist religious symbol. After he saw Birth of a Nation, he he quickly incorporated the fiery cross as a major ceremonial prop in his revived clan. However, the use of fiery crosses were quickly misinterpreted on one hand, and on the other, unauthorised use of fiery crosses by local units led to misuse and then abuse by renegade clansmen and pranksters. The revival clan disbanded in 1944. It's interesting, it's the year of your birth. The clan was revived again in 1946, and the fiery cross was kept as a ceremonial prop. But during the violent 1960s civil rights era, renegade clans and rabid rednecks truly abused the fiery cross and did use it as an act of intimidation, terror, and lit it in some cases as to make it part of arson. The modern media, with its beloved yellow journalism, lies, falsehoods, half-truths and distortions, in other words, politically correct brainwashing, was always quick to run wild with such incidents for the sake of its self-serving sensationalism. So what else is new? And you can bet, just thinking about that, you can bet those civil rights renegade clans were all paid by the Jews behind the scenes to do exactly what are they? Provocateurs. That's the name for them today. Israel behind them all. So what now? Well, recently various wannabe clan groups have held their imitation cross lightings against the orders of the police, who have cited various newly passed federal, state or local laws regarding such. They then found themselves on the losing end in courtroom cases because these amateurs couldn't even defend their use of the fiery cross by proving it a well-established religious symbol and thus protected under the First Amendment. Again, established media was quick to carry on its anti-Christ propaganda campaign and has all but demonised the ceremony and defamed the symbolism. But all these pipsqueak clans claim to be the direct descendant clan of the original, hence true, Ku Klux Klan. So why, then, do they need to use the fiery cross at all when the original clan never used it? If these clans were to singularly model themselves after the rival clan and bring back all the ceremonies, degree work, and clan craft of that clan as a great fraternal order, then I could see them still using the fiery cross in private or where public permission had been given, whether that permission had to be obtained after a court battle or not. But these wannabe clans still consider themselves as a group of regulators, as was the original KKK, while the more extreme illegal clans actually consider themselves in rebellion against our constitutional free public and seek to impose a dictatorship, to regulate or purge our government of political prostitutes and New World Order, that should be Jew World Order, traitors is one thing. To advocate the destruction of our constitution and freedom is another. But either way, why do these clans want to burn a cross when they neither practice nor even understand its deep religious meaning? Ignorance, that's why. These idiots are now starting to have swastika lightings at the same time as some of their rallies. A pagan symbol being considered the same, our Christian symbol. Talk about a contradiction. How dumb can they get? We don't call them illegal clans for nothing, but contradictions are their stock in trade. I've seen their web pages and literature where they all claim to be a strictly legal, law-abiding, moral Christian fraternal order, yet I've gone to their rallies and have dealt with them in person. They break the law like crazy. They're always losing major lawsuits or going to jail. They live drunken, drug-abusing, immoral lives, and the last thing they ever do is anything fraternal or Christian. They lie, they steal, they slander and stab everyone in the back, including themselves.
I'm talking about the Jews, aren't
Well, these are the infiltrated clans, I would say. Then they wonder why no normal people want to join their little sham con clans. So this is a true copy by the order of the Great Blue Fustin. So, obviously, as within everything, you've got the original and the true, and then the distorted that comes out of it. Like the true church, and then the daughters of the harlot, if you like. It's the same thing. Anyway, so that's the original story of the clan, and where the fiery crust comes into play. Now, he goes on to say, the KKK is not a church and was never intended to be one. The KKK is not a self-declaring belief system. No one is born a Klansman or has the right to call themselves one unless they are an actual member of a legitimate branch of the KKK. KKK is not something you make up as you go along. The original KKK defined itself, defined its structure and defined its activities, and wrote them all down in the original prescripts in 1867. They revised and amended the prescripts in 1868. That was it. There were specific rules and regulations to follow if you were to be part of the clan. If anyone takes the time to read the original prescripts available from us in our booklet section, you will plainly see that in no way, shape or form was the KKK intended to be a church, cult or religion of any kind. What was the original clan? After its beginning as a harmless fraternal order, it was reorganised under Grand Wizard Forrest to be a protective society of regulators who fought to restore law and order and protect the rights of the disenfranchised, militarily conquered South. When the clan was revived in 1915, Imperial Wizard Simmons again wrote everything down. The rules, regulations, ceremonies, activities, functions, structure, and so on were not only written down but copyrighted and placed on public record for all the world to see. He says, I refer you to the Clarion Clan Constitution, Clan in Action booklet, Clansman Manual, and all the other defining books and ceremonies called Clancraft available from us in our booklet section. Imperial Wizard Simmons, Evans and Colescott made it plain and clear that the KKK was not a religion, church or political party. It was a Protestant fraternal order. When the clan was revived in 1946 by Grand Dragon Green, he did not take the title of Grand or Imperial Wizard for technical reasons concerning the IRS and the clan's prior disbandment. Green too established his clan as a fraternal order, and it was carried through as such right up to the 1990s, though it occasionally engaged in political activity and other things. Whenever a branch of the clan established itself in a new area, incorporated or was chartered, it was always did so as a fraternal order in the 20th century. So how did this clan as a church nonsense come about? It was the idea of wannabe wizard Ray Larson. It's an alias he uses, but I won't give his real name here. In the mid-1990s, Imperial Wizard James Venable died, and his National Knights of the KKK, an authentic clan organisation which had been fading for years, disbanded. Ray Larson was quick to claim the name of the National Knights as the name for his own minuscule group of assorted odd personalities. He then told me at one of his rallies and by phone call a few times that he was thinking of declaring his clan a church. For the above stated reasons, I told him that was an absurd idea and that the original clansmen would flip in their graves if they heard of it. As usual, these upstarts don't listen to common sense, nor do they follow the rules and established facts of history. So he went off on his wild tangent and declared himself Reverend Ray Larson, who isn't honest enough with you to use his real name, Imperial Wizard of the Church of the National Knights of the KKK. The idea was not an act of zealous faith, it was just a political ploy to attempt to gain better legal protection under the Constitution. And he goes on, this is almost finished. Following in his tracks came the renegade Jeff Berry, Jeff Berry split off from the Liberty Knights of the KKK, who had themselves split off from the Templar Knights of the KKK in the mid-1990s. Berry couldn't figure out what to name his new clan. He called me about it and I suggested the name American Knights, which he liked and adopted for his own. Keep in mind this guy's going to save the whole white race, yet he couldn't even figure out what to call his own clan and had to ask my help. Shortly afterward, Berry took to Larson's idea and declared himself Reverend Jeff Berry, Imperial Wizard of the Church of the American Knights of the KKK. Since then, a number of tag-along clans have done the same thing, but it is the dumbest thing they could do, and it is a complete misuse of the clan name and misinterpretation of the clan itself. These clans don't need enemies when they do such a good job of fouling things up themselves. He's got kook, klutz, clowns. If anyone takes the time to look past the shabby, superficial lip service they pay to Christianity, you'll see nothing religious or Christian about them at all. Ray Larson openly associates with and has speakers at his events publicly known illegal drug abusers, such as the many times convicted neo-Nazi Ted Dunn. Reverend Jeff, on the other hand, is presently serving a 7-year prison sentence for threatening a news reporter with a gun. Prior to that, Rev Jeff was caught and prosecuted for cheating senior citizens with his fly-by-night home repair business. He overcharged for work he did and charged others for work he did not do. Way to go, Rev Jeff, a man of God. Cheating other citizens, senior citizens. To get himself out of the legal mess, he agreed to become an informer for the police. He provided the police with so much information, it resulted in 70 arrests. Now, he was not informing on clan organisations, but drug abusers. In that respect, he deserves a medal. But I live a clean life. I don't hang around with the drug-using crowd. If I even suspect it, I disassociate with any such individuals because it is illegal and I'm a law-abiding citizen. It is not a Christian lifestyle. I couldn't even point to anyone and be able to say I even suspect them of using illegal drugs. I have always kept myself separate from all that. I don't know what kind of low social life Jeff Berry had, but how could a man of God be so steeped into the drug underworld and so trusted by them as to be able to provide enough information as to get 70 drug law breakers arrested? Does all this sound like the work of a church to you? How can you even call it a church when at most of their meetings all they do is talk about hanging or shooting somebody? Before he went to prison, Berry's property was shot at several times, and since his incarceration his church clan has faded. The moral of all this is don't fly in the face of God and mock God by declaring something a church when it is not. Don't exploit religion for the sake of politics, and don't claim godliness when you are engaged in criminal activity, unless you want the wrath of God to come down on you at your head too. Neither should you claim to honour the memory of the true clansmen of the past and then mock their memory by distorting the clans they founded so far out of shape as to make them unrecognisable. One final note.
Can I make an interjection here?
Yes.
What the hell are you talking about?
This is the history of the true clans.
Well, you could have done that in 10 seconds. Right? All this is crap.
All this is, well, it's highlighted.
I spoke to the clan and I said
yes,
that they wanted
that.
to live separately and they wanted a pure race. They didn't want to be infiltrated by Jews or blacks. And I said, well, you've got a black in charge of the whole damn country and you've got Jews running everything in the country and they're about to kill you all. And he was going underground to try and fight against it.
Yes, and obviously he was from the true clansmen.
Well, maybe so, but that's raving
but this
on
is
forever.
well, this is highlighting the renegade, the ones that cause all the problems.
Forget the bloody renegades. I don't want to talk about those bastards, right? They're mad. I'm talking about people in the United States. I don't care if you're Spanish American or if you're Negro American or if you're white American or German American or English American. It doesn't matter to me. If you're good people, you're good people. And I said to James, I said, look, the day might come when you can wear your white garment walking down the main drag into Washington and take it over, and the guy standing right beside you will be a black man in a white garment, because the white garment is going to represent the book of Revelation. So if afterwards you want to form your own community, no problem. Good for you. Go do it. You should not be forced to live where you don't want to live and mix races. In fact, the Colburn Bible is very specific on that. And this is where Jesus was from the years of 13 years of age to 30, teaching in the universities of Glastonbury, where there were 60 universities and people came from all over the world of that time to learn. That's where I was teaching. And it's very specific. You don't mix races. As simple as that. You're created white, you're created black, you're created yellow, and you're created as an Indian. So this is what the corn is all about. Well, let's go back to the Hopi prophecies. Going back way before the white people arranged themselves to start killing off Indians in America. They were told that there would be these planets coming in from outer space, that there would be in the corn, you've got the kernels of the corn, some have got black kernels in it, some have got yellow, some have got white, some have got red. And this Jesus figure, which was an angel, said that he was also going to visit the yellow race people, the black race people. And in Sweden, I think it's Switzerland. There is one of the tablets that he was given. The people were given by this angel. The Hopi have one of the tablets, which is the same. The people that are in Africa, they were given the same. And whether that still exists or not, it doesn't matter. The point is, that was the idea that was given, the tablets of that God is a creator of you all, and not to be fighting each other, but you don't go and mix races, right? So you don't mix animals. Look at how many different types of dogs you've got, and what idiots have done that. Right, you start off with one type of dog and you end up, you've got 3,000 different types now. Same with cats. Right? People do it for stupid reasons. The reality is human beings are not animals, and you stay, if you're a Negro, love God, love each other, right? Love your neighbours if they're white or any other colour. But you don't have to mix races. You don't make, I guess it's a Jewish policy. They want you to dilute the races down so that there is no difference. So you don't do that. Now, if someone does fall in love with a black woman and you're white, fine, right? And you don't go throwing rocks at them and stoning them because if they do it for the right reason, that's one thing. Just don't make a habit of it. You don't encourage people to do it. Stay within your race if you can. Right? Fall in love with someone, well, that's fine. But for the most part, you live in a white area, you do the white way. You live in a black area, you do it the black way. If you live in a Hispanic area, you live it the Hispanic way. Right? Way it goes. What's hard about that? Then there's no problems. And I think it was in the days of Richard Nixon when they started busing, forcing kids who lived in black neighbourhoods to go to white schools and so forth. It's nonsense, right? It's caused more trouble and harassment of people, deaths, murders, shootings. I mean, America's got a terrible history of doing things wrong. It's about time we started doing it right. So I said to the Ku Klux Klan, organise the black people who are good people, like yourself, into fighting a common cause, and you do that through your armies and take over. Now, they've even got Obama. Now, there's a black man, he needs a bullet. Right? Let's be serious about this. I have no problem with that.
And Bush, a white man, needed a bullet before him.
That's right. Bush was a terrible white man. He needed a bullet.
And Hillary Clinton, a white woman coming up, worse than all of them together, needs a bullet right now.
Right. So all of your governments around the world are all run by, infiltrated by the Khazars. Another one who needs a bullet is Rupert Murdoch. He's a Jew. Netanyahu. If you didn't have these people in the world, you wouldn't have a problem. Right? You certainly wouldn't have nuclear plants.
Rockefeller, Rothschild.
Rockefeller starting selling crude oil to poor people that as a cancer cure. That's the kind of bastard.
Standard Oil.
Right? Standard Oil. Right? So, yeah, how are we going for tonight?
Lots of.
Hmm?
Lots of.
Oh, lots of. Anyhow, that's my feeling on it. And of course, I got a lot of flack over that, and love it, because you get more mileage by being controversial than you do by being nice. And I ain't nice, let's face it. Right.
The image of the beast is the image that Christians, East and West, have of Jesus. You know, the dude with the long flowing golden locks.
Homosexual.
Who happens to be the partner, homosexual partner of the painter in medieval times who made him famous. That's the image of the beast. I call him the airy-fairy pansy, the one who turns the other cheeks. Well, he was never like that.
I don't do it then, I don't do it now.
This is an enemy set to destroy not only you, but your children. Primarily your children. They've already got you. So there's no turning of the other cheek. And this is judgment.
So what does your Bible gospel say about the little children? Unless you become like the little children, you ain't getting into heaven. And say your Lord's Prayer and see where heaven is. Thy will be done on earth, not up there in some hairy fairy land. Heaven is empty. We'll come to the earth for judgment. Guess who the judge is?
The unpardonable sin is to speak against the Holy Ghost. Now, as Jesus, he warned of it right before he went to the cross. That the one sin that will not be forgiven man is to speak against the Holy Ghost. He said, in this world, so that's 33 AD, and in the world to come, which is now. He went to the cross. He did everything he needed to do. But once he resurrected, that's it. This is the God part. You can speak against the Son of Man right up to the point of his death on the cross. But come resurrection, there is no excuse for anybody. He appeared to 522 people. That was just the day that he left as he ascended back into the clouds. For the 49 days he was walking the earth, he provided all the evidence in the world, which is available and has been recorded.
Not only was it recorded by the enemies of Jesus. That's the wonderful part, that even they were stunned by the reality of the resurrection. They realised they had killed the Messiah, but the prophecy is that the Messiah must die on the cross. So what's that mean? All the blood drained out on the cross. That's where the soul is. Then the soul comes back into the body and resurrects it. I had a kidney stone, and very painful. So I went to a doctor, and he said I should go to the hospital because they can do something about it. So I did, and they said, well, what we're going to do is put a stent in you, and then the kidney stone is a little bit large to break up, because it could be painful, all the bits. They do it with ultrasound, and all these bits will be going down through the urethra, and it's very painful. So they said, well, here's this way. You should put a very small plastic tube up through your urethra. So they've got to go in up through your bladder, right? So I thought, yeah, all right. So at night, they come and got me, and they wheeled me down through this darkened hallway towards the radiology, and the hall that led into the radiology was closed, so there was two men pushing me on this trolley. Then this doctor walked past and he said, oh, I'm going in the back way, I'll open the door for you. So obviously he knew what was going to happen, which I thought was a bit odd. So this is not a major medical procedure, right? A first-year student can do it. So the door opened and the hall was darkened, and I suppose it would be the best part of 100 feet long. And then as we got closer to where the radiology was, the light was on, Because I'm laying down, I can't really see a great distance. So then we go through the radiology where you would normally have an X-ray and a machine and so forth. Went through there into another room, and then there was 23 elderly doctors standing around. And I'm looking, I thought one was from Perth, one was from Brisbane, one was from Sydney, one was all these different places that they were from all over the country, in New Zealand and so forth. I thought, this is very odd. So the anaesthetist started to put a needle in my hand, and then I'm asking him, I said, what is this, all these doctors doing standing around? Then I passed out because they put the anaesthetic in me. So what would cause all these doctors, elderly men, coming from all over the place, to see a stent being put in? Right? As I said, a first-year student can do it. Well, it turned out that the stent that was put in was pushed through my kidney and into an artery, and I started to bleed to death. The young doctor that was looking after me, he kept on coming in, examining the urine and so forth, and it's full of blood, and doing various tests. And he said, you're losing your blood. He said, you have to have a blood transfusion. And I said, I ain't having one. So this carried on for a week. Now this is the point of all this. I didn't have a blood transfusion, yet all of a sudden I was fully back to normal with the blood. So, resurrection, tomb, blood comes back into the body miraculously. Why? That's where the soul is. And I revived. That's what happened. I remember it. Now, I don't care who believes it. I'm just telling you. If there's 100,000 people out there listening to what I'm saying and only one believes it, fine with me. I don't back up. I don't turn the other cheek. I don't tell lies. That happened. It's as simple as that.
freedomtalkradio.net.
Now, you've got the Fukushima thing, which is all to do with the Jews because they want to get rid of you. And the reason they want to get rid of you is because it's the Samson option, which means if they can't rule the world as they have been doing, they have placed nuclear weapons, so they say, in every city around the world. Which means when they pull the pin, and the talk is now, through of all things, The Simpsons cartoon, that is going to happen when?
June the 22nd.
Next week. They're going to pull a pin on the world on June the 22nd. Now, if James and the Ku Klux Klan had been able to raise up enough people in the army. Now remember, Obama is firing high-ranking officers for refusing to ever shoot upon American citizens. What kind of president does that? First off, he shouldn't be there because he's black, number one. And I mean that 100%. You've got a white country, it's a Christian country, you have a Christian white president. Right? You don't have representatives of minorities. If a minority's got a problem, you can go to your white senator, and the white senator shall behave the way I would behave and do the right thing. But you don't let groups in that can form a cartel of abomination that is going to put in nuclear power plants that are all subject to the SUKNet virus. So there's another stupid move. So you've got a SUKNet virus that they can email into your facility and get into the controls and cause a nuclear meltdown. This is what they have done. They have got you to build something you don't want, got you to pay for it, and now they've got these facilities that if they do go into meltdown, which they quite often have nearly gone into, and certainly in Japan, there's been 4, let's get it straight here, 4 meltdowns. The New York Times and MIT reported within 5 days what happened, because they have ways of measuring these things. So scientists who are intelligent and in the know were able to determine what happened had actually gone on in the Fukushima 4 reactors. Now there's 2 more reactors right next door. When the reactors blew up, incidentally, the plutonium and other uranium products were blasted all over the northern part of Japan. So you can be walking along 20 miles away from the actual site and there's a radioactivity that you could tread on as you're walking past. Now, the Japanese, to me, how they have actually been able to control the Japanese, what they say in Parliament, it's got to have something to do with the threat of what caused the tsunami in the first place, which is a bomb dropped off the Ronald Reagan carrier. Now, all these reports that's going out, there's one woman, Lorraine Murray, she 2 days ago was being interviewed. So just go into your YouTube, put in Fukushima, go up to your filter, put in the last week, and you'll see Lorraine Murray. Now, this lady is a religious woman. She's a Quaker, doesn't believe in war, but she had the good fortune to be able to be taught by a man that was, I believe, in his 90s now, and maybe he's dead now. But she would go, because she was working in Berkeley, Livermore, or something like that. And
Berkeley, yeah.
And he would teach her everything that she needed to know about nuclear radiation. So she's an expert on it. Now, she is believing in an act of God's going to fix this. However, at this point in time, forget that act of God business. The act of the devil has got you in this problem, and they are trying to kill everybody on earth, and that's why we mentioned Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was a good man. The swastika he used, incidentally, was what he got from the church he went to, a Catholic church, when he was a boy. They used a swastika in Germany. It's actually from the Hindi, and the Hindi is the oldest religion, and it is very, very similar to, in lots of ways, originally, to the Essene. And the Essene is where they got their work from. Now, the Hindi religion, they got the Vedas. Well, the Veda means angels, so the angels gave him this. And if you read the Vedas, it is stunning. If you're going to learn anything at school, you should learn about the Vedas. And that is the basis of most of the European languages, the Vedas. And the things they talk about is what Hitler was very interested in. That's why these scientists, even to this day, are the leading experts on the Vedas and the Hindi itself. So you've allowed Jews, because Jesus was a Jew. Hello? No, I wasn't. I was an Essene. Always making bad impressions, if you like, on the ruling elite at the time, which were the Babylonian Talmudic Torah Jews. The Torah was invented in Babylon. Moses wasn't wandering around the desert. It's all bullshit. Right? So the Abraham covenant, this kind of thing, it's bullshit. Okay? Israel is bullshit. Right? It's all made up. But it's a very, very effective control mechanism, because you think it's the word of Lucifer. But you think it's the word of God when it's the word of Lucifer. So this is what it's all about. Now, so far as America is concerned, you've had civil wars over less things than what is happening to you right now. Raise up, organise people, doesn't matter whether you're black, yellow, brindle or whatever. join up all together and take over this bloody White House and get rid of these bastards, because they are going to kill you. They want you all dead because of what Hitler said was true. That if you don't stop these Jews, these are the Khazars, and I'm not too happy with the ordinary Jew either, by the way, right? Because they know what's going on, they know what they do in the repos. If you don't know, there's something wrong with you. If I know, and everyone else on the planet knows what they do in synagogues, well, there's something wrong with you. So the worst thing you can do is remain being a Jew. Now, why do you think Kaduri, suddenly, here he is, a Talmud expert, Torah expert, etc., but suddenly he turns around and says Jesus was the Messiah. And then you got Ariel Sharon, one of the worst bastards in history. Suddenly, as a Prime Minister, he forms a new party and he's going to withdraw all of the occupation of Palestine because it was so wrong. This is a man that gloated over killing thousands of people. Right? So, what happened? He had seen Kaduri, and Kaduri had convinced him, right, that Jesus was the Messiah, and he repented. It goes to show you anybody can repent. So then they got him, and he suffered a stroke, and he eventually died on my birthday. Now, Kaduri said that this would not be revealed till after Ariel Sharon died. Well, he just happens to die on my birthday. As a matter of fact, we're sitting out the back here, and a friend of mine who was a bit of a strange character, very, very tough sort of individual, been involved in criminal activities on and off. But anyhow, he's gone straight. And we're sitting there, and I told him, Kaduri's going to die today. Sure enough, he did. Not Kaduri, Ariel Sharon, going to die today. And he did. So that made a believer of him because I predicted it and it happened. There's no other time that this man who had repented was set to die because Jack Kaduri, had predicted it. But after that, after he dies, then the truth will be flowing out. Okay, so all you Americans and your English, all you people out there, the English is just as bad. Take over. Raise up and take over. Go see your police, say, this is what we're going to do. Are you with us or you're against us? Go see all your soldiers and the commanders and the whole lot. Are you with us or you're against us? And do it. And you're running out of time because they're trying to pull the pin and we've been able to stop it through divine intervention. Go back in time. I was going to do the Berlin Stadium in recent times. I was going to do the football in America. All right? Stop that. But they are still at it. Now, what they have done is started this meltdown of 4 nuclear plants, and that's spreading around the world, and they're producing a black dust which is minute plutonium. You breathe that in, it'll give you cancer. It lodges as a positive into your negative charged lungs, and as you breathe it in, it's a positive charge, and you will contract cancer. Then I've got to fix that. Now, the angels are coming in. You've got pictures all around the world of Nibiru. You've got the Hopi prophecy, the blue planet and the red planet. That's all in Hopi prophecy. And it's here. So all these monsters think they're going to go underground and escape by killing off 90% or 95% of the world's population in this nuclear holocaust. What do you say, Bill? How are we going for time?
It has to be it. Yes.
That's it?
Say good night, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
Later, Gators.